Hello, seafarers, and welcome to the Corn Corner podcast. You'll know me from my job as a co-host on this podcast. My name is Wren.
And my name is Cam, and yet again, I didn't prepare a fact for the topic of today, which is hibachi. But a fun fact is that I enjoy it.
Wow, a really riveting fun fact, a great way to start off the podcast. Now, there are a lot of podcasts where the co-host doesn't love the topic, but it is clear from the intro that both hosts love the topic that they're going to be discussing. They're both, I would say, connoisseurs, and I would say also, what would you say about that? Now, this podcast has started off with a bang. We have really cemented the idea and the fact that you are excited to be here and you're ready to be here. Talking about hibachi and talking about the impact that it's had across the world, what do you think the top 5 best hibachi moments have been?
Like personally or nationally?
I'm talking about the landscape has been changed forever. And when you think about that kind of thing, how does that affect the idea of hibachi? I'm not talking about hibachi specifically, but I'm talking about the idea of that hibachi.
The landscape of dining out has been changed forever by hibachi? Is that what you're asserting?
When you think about hibachi from a top-down perspective.
You say that all the time. All the time you relate stuff by saying think about it from a top-down perspective. And I don't know what the fuck it ever means, which is like the point of you saying it. But it's like such a nothing. Because so am I above the grill? Like, what does it mean?
There are a lot of different things.
Yeah. One of the most impactful, culturally impactful things about hibachi is when you go to a place that uses a little guy that pees to do the rice vinegar, I think.
When you were a kid going hibachi, do you remember being like, should I be seeing this?
Yeah, actually, I was embarrassed. I'd be like, I think I need to look away. I'm not supposed to be watching this little man, be faux urinating onto my shrimp.
Yeah. That little man does like to urinate.
Yeah. And I understand him now. As a hydrated person. You don't get it because you don't like water, but
no, I don't. I did wake up with a huge headache this morning, and I think it was due to lack of water.
That would not surprise me at all, frankly.
All right, let's start this off right. When you go to hibachi, what are you ordering?
I don't know what I could order now because I'm vegan.
Yeah, but let's talk about back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, for some reason, it would always be shrimp. I would always get hibachi shrimp. And I would always get the spicy mustard dipping sauce. You know how they had, the octagonal dishes that you put the sauce in? And there was, the kind of, red hibachi steaky sauce stuff. But then there was also, a spicy mustard kind of thing. That was the shit. But I always got hibachi shrimp and that stuff.
Would you get only shrimp or would you get shrimp because you can get a surf and turf?
No, it would always it's only shrimp. But because, as you know, when you go to hibachi, they'll make all the different things and they always give you a little bit of the other kind of thing. There's especially when you're a kid, they're like, hey, it's 4 pieces of chicken for you, champ. And you're like, wow, look at that.
Do you think that is to get you, I don't want to use street terms here, but hooked on a different kind of high, if you will?
I feel like if you're getting shrimp, then that's like a gateway to lobster. And if they're trying to upsell you, then they want to get you on the shrimp. So I was already there.
What do you think about people that go out to hibachi and do get the filet mignon and lobster? That's a high ticket item.
I feel like it's a weird place to do it, I suppose. Now I do. Back in the day, it'd be like, whew, don't mess with that guy. That's come in here. It's not even his birthday. And he's doing that.
And that is actually a good point. It's probably not his birthday. And there's a degree of respect that goes along with that kind of thing.
Someone ordering a surf and turf definitely demands respect.
Yeah.
So it's a whole thing. Also, just thinking about the name of that It's like deeply upsetting.
Surf and turf.
Yeah.
Do you think that the man that would order a surf and turf, he would call it that?
Absolutely. He's excited he's proud to order that. He
Yeah.
comes in and is like, I'm gonna do the surf and turf. And they're like, how do you want that steak cooked? And he's like, medium well. And then you're
Wow.
upset.
There is a lot of discussion about different donenesses of steaks.
Yep.
A lot of people say a rarer steak is better. A lot of people say a more well done steak is an elementary idea.
Mhm. And
I think that I would rather have a piece of overcooked chicken than a perfectly cooked piece of chicken. I don't really want either these days, but something that's perfectly, I'd rather have it just seared with a bunch of flavor on it.
you just said two different things there, though. Because, like, no one is going and ordering chicken and being like, can you hit it mid-rare? Like, that's not a thing.
No.
Chicken's cooked or it's not. And just to be clear on that one. But steak, you do and can specify things. And the same with burgers, which kind of freaks me out also, because it's like ground beef. It's not the same. I don't know. I'm starting to get to the point where seeing meat is gross to me now. Like, Brad was ripping up a rotisserie chicken on the kitchen counter the other day for a meal he was making, and I was like viscerally disgusted by it. So that's
I'm
where we're at.
weirdly getting to that point too. We did
Yeah.
we did an episode on veganism, which was kind of more about a reducing your meat eating episode. And I'm getting to the point as well, like seeing meat is I haven't been
bummer.
able to do it. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. And I don't want to see it raw. Like, I don't like that.
Anyway, back to
situation.
hibachi. There are other things that go into hibachi. Some people like to call it half dinner and half show.
Mhm.
When you're going to hibachi, what are some things that you do to prepare to get in that mindset to get ready to be entertained?
I think that, you plan to go to hibachi in the first place, so you're already ready to be entertained. It's like going to medieval times. Like, you're not like, it's not a off the cuff. Like, you're not like,
Yeah.
where should we go to dinner tonight? And just being like, oh, let's go to Benihana. No one's like throwing that out there as a last minute
Yeah.
suggestion. You've planned, you knew a week before minimum that you were going there to Ichiban or wherever, So like, you're already there.
People have probably made that mistake before and gotten there, and you got to get up to speed quickly, or else you're going to be left in
Yeah.
the dust, as they like to say in hibachi.
If you're not in the mood for that, then like, what's your favorite chef,
Probably.
trick, Chef Zazzy that they throw out?
Oh, I thought you were talking about a specific person.
No,
Well,
I know
shout
it's
out,
Genji, whatever the fuck.
yeah, shout out to Chef Zane, an incredible
Okay.
chef, and I would absolutely encourage anybody to go out there for any of your hibachi needs.
All right. No, like the tricks that they do, you know what I mean?
Oh, I really like the egg.
The crack in the egg where they throw it up and then
Yeah,
Oh,
where
okay.
they can kind of balance it on that
yeah, and then
spatula.
they crack it when it falls back down. Yeah.
I have a friend that got a hibachi grill, and he used it in his balcony. That was really cool.
That seems dangerous though.
It was cool. It was so cool. He did all the tricks too. He did the onion.
That's the onion's definitely my favorite one because like, and no matter how many times you see it when you're a kid, you're like, wow.
Yeah. When was the last time
Cool.
you did hibachi?
Oh, it's been so long. My family used to go for birthdays when we were like growing up. So there are two options on your birthday. If we weren't going out, then you had like spaghetti and meatballs on the very special person plate, which like someone listening to this is gonna know what I'm talking about. It's like a little red plate that just says you're a very special person.
All right.
So is that, or you went to Benihana in Harrisburg, which was like kind of a drive when we lived in Hummelstown, and we dressed up like not like to the nines, but like we were not wearing jeans and
Yeah.
t-shirts. Like there were clothing choices happening, which in retrospect I'm like, weird, like a family of 6 walking into the Benihana with like a bunch of little girls with velvet dresses on, and like, I don't know,
A little
kind of
goofy.
odd. Yeah.
But
But
I get it.
yeah. So the last time we went was probably for one of my niece and nephew's birthdays, like many years ago or something, when I still like lived back there. It's been like a decade at least, I'm sure.
I went there probably 3 years ago. No, because I was in the middle of the height of the pandemic. It must have been maybe 2 years.
I thought you were saying that you went to Benihana or Hibachi like in the height of the pandemic. I was like, wow, okay, asshole. Like,
No. I was saying my dates must have been wrong.
yeah.
Because it was once things opened up and became slightly better and dipped. But we
Yeah.
went after a Ren fair.
Weird. That's
was-
a really weird time.
It was so fun.
Why didn't you eat at the Ren Fair though?
Because there was a group of us and it was a family and it was just we actually did eat at the Ren Fair, but this was for dinner. It was really, really hot at the Renaissance Fair.
Mhm.
And we had something there, but the lines were really long too. Now things are coming back to me. The line was crazy there. They're also kind of out of some stuff. And it's also hard because everyone has to go in their own area and get their own thing. Then they come, they sit, and then you gotta find a table and fight for that table. It's just too much. So I think we all wanted kind of a chiller experience. And then
So you went to Hibachi.
well, we said it's a very heightened experience. It's a very elegant experience. Hibachi's more of an elevated experience, as I was saying, but it's not for the weak of heart either. I think that's something we're being very clear about here.
I do think that it's similar to another thing I haven't ever done actually, karaoke, where like you have to go and be like open to participation. Like you can't go to Hibachi and be like a little stinker about like the things happening. Like you need to be like, whoa, when the guy catches the shrimp tail in his pocket, even though it like you have to commit to the bit because everyone there is.
This is not a joke though. When he catches the shrimp tail in his pocket, it's
I'm stoked.
Impressive.
Yeah, I can't do that. If I were to go, if they had vegan stuff at a hibachi place, which I don't think I could conceivably eat anything except white rice, and maybe miso soup, I guess. But like, I would be screaming like in excitement at the guy doing the things.
Yeah, I think that honestly, like, it's so cool to me. I love seeing it, but you do have to participate. You can't hide. But they make it easy. I mean, they know how to entertain a crowd.
Yeah, they don't. It's not cringe. Like they don't overdo. I don't know. They're not like doing crowd work where they kind of do, where they like find the one at the table and then like be messing with you a little bit. Yeah. That's a good time.
Where do you think that comes from? Because what you're really discussing is a lot of emotional intelligence. You're discussing a lot of feeling people out and reading them and seeing their weaknesses and keying in on those things. In hibachi school, do you think that comes before the actual tactile nuts and bolts of how to flip things around? Do you think that comes before it?
I feel like it's part of it. Like it's an inherent part of training where you just got to learn, you got to roll with the punches. And if you don't know how to entertain the crowd, they're going to weed you out of that school before you get graduated, you know?
You kind of have it or you don't have it.
Yeah. You either got the sauce or you don't, as they say in the hibachi biz.
Wow. Do you think that you got that sauce in you? And you can be honest.
I was gonna say I was gonna say no and be like, I'm not good at entertaining a crowd, but I'm trying to be nicer to myself, and I'm hilarious, and I'm really good actually at entertaining a crowd in front of a group of people. And I say I have poor social skills, but I'm the one who leads conversation when it's awkward. So I think I would do a good job, except I'd probably make someone cry because I would go too hard in picking on them.
You would only do that once, so then you'd learn.
That's true, I guess. But also it'd be probably funny anyway.
What if you opened up a vegan hibachi place?
But what would they like? Just like, because the surface of the hibachi does not lend well to cooking most vegan proteins, I
That's
would
not
say.
true. That's not true. You can
Which one? What are you gonna do?
all the tofu, obviously.
Tofu's gonna stick right to that thing.
Not if you could pre-fry that tofu. It's not gonna stick. And
But
that
that's
also,
not fun then.
what are you talking about? No, pre-fried tofu is very common. You can even buy pre-fried tofu in Asian
No.
markets.
I mean that like, ooh, I need to do that. I mean that like half of the hibachi thing is like the sizzle. Like the things get thrown on there and are like, and
yeah, but
like
it's still
you're
gonna
gonna
sizzle. There's water.
I guess.
Sizzling is water leaving the object, and tofu has
Can't
more
prove
water
it.
in it than anything.
That's not true.
Yeah, so what are you talking about? It's all water. But so tofu, and then all the different seitans and those goofy things. You marinate them. You got fun little things going on. You got your mushrooms.
Sure. I
think
guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think you could also do something along the lines of a garbanzo bean of some kind. I think you could figure that out.
I think, yeah, it will be possible to do it, but I'm not going to do it. So I don't know what we're
I think you
where
could
we're
do it
going
easy.
here.
And then really, there's not a lot of dairy in hibachi.
Yeah.
It's
But
really,
a lot of it's meat and egg based.
I think that the hardest thing would be the egg, because there's nothing like seeing that egg.
Just get like a fake eggshell filled with just egg, the like stuff that I eat.
But also,
Just
it's like not
bleh.
that big of a deal, like in the fried rice.
Yeah. You
You
can make
can-
fried rice without that.
You can make vegan fried rice easy.
And you still got the little pee-pee guy, no matter what. He's vegan.
Yep. So I don't know. Actually, I think that you totally can. I think you absolutely could. And also, a lot of Asian foods lend themselves to being vegan super easy because there's not a lot of dairy. I think that's the hardest thing to replace in a lot of vegan food is the dairy.
That's true. Oh, also, the last time I went to Hibachi was actually in college because there was a place that you could drink. It was BYOB, and they never checked IDs. So we would all go there and do an outrageous amount of sake bombs and be really annoying now that I think about it in retrospect, and like it's probably too much. And I'm like, apologies to those people. But that was the last time I did hibachi.
Whenever you talk about something like underage drinking, it's so crazy to me because you turn 18 at some point. You could drink at 21. That's 3 years.
I was like 21 when I graduated college. Like, am I not going to drink my whole college experience?
How'd you graduate college in 3 years?
I was 17 when I went to college. Bing,
That's
bing.
too early. That's too early.
Yeah, no shit. Some could say some of my issues were because I was too young being there. But 18 is also too young to be going off on your own and like, well, it shouldn't be, but
I don't know. Well, listen, one thing about us is that we are not parents, nor are we parental figurines, but something that we are is hibachi experts. And
Yeah.
speaking of growing up and things of that nature, when you think it's a little bit too early to introduce somebody to their first hibachi?
the age when you stop being scared of fire. Like you had to not be scared of fire anymore to go to hibachi. Don't take Frankenstein's monster to hibachi is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that man is afraid of it. Ray Romano.
Yeah.
Do you think that they should pair a movie and a show, or do you think that, in the show being hibachi, or do you think that there's a little bit too much of the kind of decadence of pomp and circumstance around hibachi that a movie would get drowned out?
I don't. The saying is dinner and a show, so like, it's not a show and a show. So I'm confused by your question because the hibachi, the chef is the show, and then your dinner is what he's making in the like. It's like a review, whatever.
There is actually a pretty fun feeling of when that chef leaves after he's prepared all the food, and it's just you. There's a weight that is relieved.
Yes. You're like, whew, all right, now I can stop being on. Like, Have you ever been to medieval times?
No.
Oh my god, we gotta. That's like it's like next level of. Actually, is it worse? I don't know, because hibachi is so much more pressure because it's like you and like the chef and 6 people or whatever. But medieval times, you're in a whole like auditorium of people, and then there's all the knights and stuff. So
I would do it for sure.
I think the only thing I could eat there is a baked potato without like butter on it. But it is fun. It's a wild time.
See, yeah.
What?
That's hard.
To not, I'd go. I don't. You're not going to medieval time for a nice dinner.
Yeah, but you still have to
You're on
eat. It's dinner time.
I'll bring some snacks. I'm going to watch the Black Knight beat up the Yellow Knight. That's what we want.
I thought you were talking about the Martin Lawrence movie. Because you
No.
said, I'm going to watch The Black Knight.
Tonight, I'm
Oh,
watching
it's
my
like-
favorite Martin Lawrence film. Actually, it'd probably be like Blue Streak or something. I don't know.
What's that?
Another Martin Lawrence movie. That's like, I feel like that's the one that people would think of. Or like Bad Boys.
I think people like Bad Boys, the movie.
Yeah.
There is, I think Joshua Weissman did a video about this, but there is a fun thing about hibachi in that the rice that you get
Yeah.
tastes unlike any other fried rice you would get. And I don't even know if it's really considered fried rice, but I guess
Isn't
it
it?
is.
How is it not?
Because it's not getting, I don't know. I'm not the person to make this judgment call, but if you're in a wok that's super, super, super hot, you are literally frying that rice. But the hibachi isn't that hot. It's really just rice with things in it.
I guess you're.
I think I'm
Well, if you're getting
semantically
technical, yeah.
correct.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
won't disagree.
the taste, I mean, not calling it fried rice is pretentious. You know, it is fried rice, but it's just a little bit different than the wok. Anyway, that rice tastes so different, and it's the only place you can get that taste.
Yeah. It's magical. Do you remember when white people try to say MSG was bad?
Oh yeah, it was just racism.
Yeah. Shocker. I'm like, you know what makes fried rice taste good? That. And that's
MSG.
why I have it in my spice cabinet.
My mom didn't know any better from this, and she said that MSG gave her headaches. But at the time, there was also studies going on that were validating this totally bogus racism.
Because they did weird correlation things where it'd be people that just ate a shit ton of salt and were dehydrated. And then they were like,
Yeah, my mom had bad migraines and stuff, and it was always MSG and things. And I think now she would look at that differently and say, "Oh, I didn't know. It was propaganda that was given to us." Sure, but yeah, it's
I'd
pretty
like to know
wild.
why. Also,
You what?
so I'd like to know why. Also, a hibachi thing that's fun is I feel like it's the sole thing responsible for introducing a lot of Americans to international beer beyond like Heineken or something.
Like Sapporo.
Sapporo. Yeah. Because I remember like going with my family and my dad would always get like a Sapporo or whatever.
Yeah.
And they were like huge also. Like they were gigantic. But
yeah,
that's
they got the big one, the small one.
Yeah.
There's see, I don't like to drink, but I like having a Sapporo at the hibachi place. There's nothing
It makes
like
sense.
that.
Yeah.
But at home, I don't want a beer ever.
No. And like never something that large. I would never, I mean, I don't drink like at all, but if I did, it would be like something like that where you're like, come on, like you gotta.
Well, you drank in New Orleans like a couple years ago.
That was the last time I did actually, like at all.
Because it's just
fuck
fun.
this.
It's what you do.
That's yeah. And I like I used to like getting little cocktails at dinner. Like whatever what's that $16 bullshit you got? I'll try it. Like
I used to be really into the cocktails, and then I stops immediately. So I was like, oh, I could get dessert and feel happier
Yeah.
than
And
having
not be
this dumb
tired.
cocktail.
So are we going to Hibachi now? Next time we hang out?
I would go to Hibachi so quick. Wouldn't a fun thing be at some point if the Corn Corner rented out a hibachi restaurant and we all went? Like, we did a reservation for the entire restaurant and it was all corn dogs. And we all go and we have the restaurant for like 3 hours.
No one can order the surf and turf.
It couldn't be that expensive.
It's more expensive than we make with the Corn Corner, that's for sure.
Yeah, but I think we might have made $74.
We save up for 10 years. And we're like,
Quarter
all right,
one.
guys, this is the.
But this is how we expand. We have to dream. This is called dreaming. This is dream storming. So, but if we had a group of corn dogs and we said, hey, we're all going to go to the Benihanas.
Yeah.
That would be an experience.
I think we could just do that without renting out the entire Benihana. How many corn dogs are really going to get together at once? There's going to be like 10 of us. Like
No. We can get 100.
all in one area. Everyone on the western seaboard.
Easy. I want to have Corn Corner Con. I want to do it.
Okay. I'm like,
it's a convention.
Do you know about Yeah, I know, I get that. What's the one BronyCon where it was like there's like that picture of like the empty fucking room with a ball pit in the middle of it that's like a kiddie pool?
God, that's funny.
That's what Corn Corner Con, but it'd be like a blow up corn maze instead.
Oh, that's so fun.
But quite small in the middle of a large warehouse space.
See, we could do that.
Sure.
I do think that Folsom next year we need to do something.
Yeah, that was again we've talked about before. That was the highlight of Folsom this past one. We should hang out at the end.
We should specifically make a Corn Corner activity though.
What if we did like a scavenger hunt?
Okay.
But like Folsom edition, so it's like guy getting fisted. And it's just like honor code because I'm not gonna make you take a picture of the guy getting fisted. But...
And then one of the squares is like get us to sign off on it.
On the sheet, yeah, sure. Sign off on the guy getting fisted.
Well, it should be we should do a bingo card.
That's what I meant, like a scavenger hunt, whatever thing.
Yeah,
bingo card, like crossover. Yeah,
and then but one of them could be to get us to verify it. That could be one of the things.
And then there could also be like you win the whole card if you present us with like a piece of corn from that stand and we eat it together or something.
Yeah, I think
from
it's
the
fun.
corn stand that's inexplicably at Folsom, by the way.
I think we should do something like that. We should look into that.
Write it down in your notes app. Hey.
Nah, we got a while till Folsom comes around. We'll deal with that when we deal with it, because who knows what life's gonna be then.
God, I don't want to think about it. It's too far. I'm already scheduling to May. Yeah, it's only a few months after that is Folsom. Jesus.
Yep. Do you think you're gonna do Folsom?
Yeah. We learned this last year. We got a game plan now for next year.
Yeah.
We're all gonna perform. I'm gonna make my one partner come. He can walk around and be masked and weird.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know. I feel like honestly, poor Kissing Deli Doll's dance card is getting quite full with all of us.
She already said yes to all three of us, and it's not more. I'm just taking someone else's spot that would normally have 2 spots with her.
Okay, I do feel as if I'm the one that needs to give up a spot, because obviously Bethany's got the top spot now.
Yeah, we're not. No one's putting baby in a corner.
I understand that, and I respect that, and I feel like I should give you a. But I guess Chelsea and I did perform twice, so you would have taken one of those.
Yeah, I was like, you did 2 things, like you have typically, so whatever. Well, it'll all shake out.
The first foursome, we did 3 things.
That's what I'm saying. You're just being a real greedy Gus. And then Bethany stepped in and took one of them, so you got 2. And now little family dog is coming in underneath to pick up the scraps to take another one. So you only get 1 share.
Do you think, I want to say 2 things. 1, that first foursome, when I got 3, I know I was being a greedy little dog, but I can't tell you how good the third one was because of how exhausted I was.
Yeah.
It felt so good. We talked about it many times here, and we won't talk about it again. But the other thing I want to say is that maybe what we have to do is you have to tell Chelsea to, maybe she's gotta close it up, because the next foursome we can't. She's gonna be doing.
Oh,
4.
close the roster, shut the roster down. You mean?
Yeah, and if we know someone that has experience there.
Oh, my roster is slimmest that it has ever been.
And I'm congratulating you for that.
I'm too tired. I couldn't possibly have any more going on.
Yeah.
I can barely have a relationship with myself.
Well, listen, speaking of not giving yourself the love and attention that you deserve, speaking of not really investing in yourself and nurturing that artist inside of you, when you need to get recharged, how are you doing that?
Going in
and if
eating
you can
hibachi.
relate that to hibachi, that'd be great.
Yeah, I was like going and eating stuff off of a hot big grill that an entertaining man makes for me, which I guess is kind of like true because Brad is an entertaining man and he often makes food for me. So
that's kind of it.
Yep.
The hibachi's kind of in your heart.
Maybe the hibachi was the friends we made along the way.
Do you ever, when you're at hibachi, think about, wow, I hope my table mates are good?
No, because I haven't been there in so long. I think I would now. Like if you and I went and we were like, oh, you're gonna get paired up, with the people here, we would be like, these better not be stinkers. And if they were, we'd be texting each other about them during the meal.
People love to talk to us in public because we're such a sight to see, I think. And if you're a hibachi, I think that we would have some discussions happening at that table.
It's a funny thing that happens in public. Our tattoos get complimented, but more often yours get complimented because they're like colorful and actual things that I think people can identify, unlike mine.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm kind of like, fuck you to them, not you. Because they're like nice tattoos, and we both turn around, they're talking to you clearly, and I'm like,
have I ever told you that story about that one time I was in Trader Joe's? I don't know if I have or not, but okay, this was a long time ago. This was before I was really tattooed. I had this arm tattoo, which is all American neo-traditional.
This is classic end of Corn Corner episode subject matter.
I was in Trader Joe's with my friend. This was about a decade ago. Okay, so I was about to quote a Brian Jordan Alvarez thing where he says decade. Anyway, I'm used to people saying nice tattoos, and I had on this really ugly sweater, and my friend had on a much nicer sweater, and the cashier said, "Hey, love your sweater." And reflectively or instinctively, I was like, thank you so much. And then the guy was like, no, not yours, theirs. And then they both started making fun of me. They're like, yeah, definitely not your sweater. It's so ugly. Look how ugly your sweater is. I'm not talking about your sweater. Anyway, it was funny.
Great story.
Yeah, I tried really hard. It was actually a fun thing. And I thought to myself, wow. I'm just used to, people saying they like it. But also people just like the idea of it.
Hibachi or tattoos?
What do you think?
I don't know what we're talking about anymore at this point in the episode.
I'm not quite sure that I do think that people probably like the idea of hibachi more than they like the actual hibachi. That's a really interesting thing for you to bring up. That's really deep.
Thank you so much. I agree. That's why I brought it up. because it's my thought. So of course I agree with you restating it.
It is interesting because I don't think people are really think about what they eat too much.
That's not true. What?
I don't
Huh?
think people. I don't think people put a lot of thought into it. Like I think that they just kind of eat.
Food dictates everything I do.
Yeah, but you're not. maybe you're not the target person.
How funny! We gotta stop this episode. But how funny would it be if we just had a staring contest, but didn't like tell anyone that's what was happening? So then, like, one audio listeners would just be like totally lost, but YouTube people would like at some point look up and notice it was silent, and it's just us being like, like.
Here's actually a question that I think about more often than not. And it is the lack of corn in a hibachi. Have
Is
you
there not
noticed
corn
that?
in like the fried rice mixture?
No.
Really? Some fried rice has corn in it.
Yes, but this one doesn't.
Can you imagine that as an addition to the hibachi preparation table? Because like they'd have to like get the cob and like cut the the kernels off. And like I don't think there's really that flashy of a way to do that unless you're just doing it fast. But it'd be really funny just to like the guy to be like, hold on. And just like do it normally,
It would actually be pretty funny. It would be fun to see. It would feel a little bit like it's behind the scenes.
And also, what if they had the corn and you had to husk it at the table? Like you to help. He just started handing out unhusked corn and you're like,
all right. Well, the thing that's so weird is that people would do it fully.
oh yeah.
They'd be so into it.
Also, I feel like if someone handed me an unhusked ear of corn anywhere, I probably would be like, and start peeling it because I'd be like, is there something inside? Like, do I need to?
Do not say that though, because then next Folsom, you're going to be getting so many cobs.
Hey, God willing.
And no. That's not what we meant. Because let's be clear, I don't think you got a single cob during Folsom.
No, and I didn't. Nor did I want. I unconsensually, basically. Nor did I want to.
Yeah.
If any cobs I'm getting at Folsom are ones that I'm bringing with me.
Yeah, but even that one, if you brought that one with you, you're not getting it.
Maybe by then.
No.
No one knows what we're talking about. I'm in an intense denial-based relationship.
It's fun, and eventually we'll talk about it in the Corn Corner, but now we will not be talking about it. But what we will be talking about is the ending of the episode. Now, are there any final thoughts to really wrap this up, to really put a T, to dot the I in hibachi?
As it were. I want to look up the recipe for those sauces that they make and make them and have a jar in my fridge constantly because those are really good. I feel like they made the meal, frankly.
They really do make that
also
meal.
Now I do want to Google vegan hibachi because I feel like there probably is a place in LA that does it.
Well, on your next LA trip, we'll do some vegan hibachi because that'd be really fun. Oh, do you know what we need to do? We need to do Mr. Charlie's.
What's that?
It's a McDonald's dupe.
Oh yeah,
all vegan.
I would see that on the delivery apps and was always be like, I want to try that. You know what I haven't used once since moving out into the middle of nowhere?
Good.
Delivery apps. It's awesome.
I was full on addicted to the delivery apps. I had to get them all off my phone. Absolutely addicted to them.
There may be a place in Troy, actually. Anyway.
Okay.
Let's close this thing out. I'm hungry.
All right. Well, look, go eat, and we will touch base soon, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
All right.
The hot touch base with the hot, like a shrimp on the hot sheet of a hibachi grill. And you know what? When you're sitting around the hibachi grill, it doesn't matter if you're shucked.
It doesn't matter if you're creamed.
All that matters is that you're kind corn and just be kind corn. I fucked it up this time.
I'm
too.
supposed to say the very end. I'm supposed to say that part. Doesn't matter if you're kind corn, is what I'm supposed to say.
Just as long as you're kind corn.
Yeah.
It does matter that you're kind corn.
I guess it does kind of hinge on the fact that you are kind corn, doesn't it?
That's the whole thing that we've been trying to go for the whole time.
When you think about it, when you break down those letters, it really does mean something, doesn't it?
What letters?
Well, the letters that make up those words.
They do often mean stuff when the letters come together.
Well, everybody, on that note, be kind to each other and subscribe to the Patreon so we can keep making this hit pod.